There she
Hey.
go. Hey, how you doing? Oh, got the Connecticut King shirt on and everything. All right, all right. It is a pleasure. I'm so happy you said that you would come on. I've always wanted to speak with you ever since I read your paranormal books because I'm a paranormal girly. So, I was all into those little short stories. I was sitting there like, where the rest of them?
I'm so sorry.
I was like, where the rest? What the fuck? But
Thank you for having me.
you are so welcome. All right, let's get this started. Welcome to Negro in Distress, Black Girl Book Talk, where we get into the why, how, and heartbeat behind Black indie literature. Today, I have the honor of sitting with the romance queen, because that's how I see you, because your romance is just, it be romancing. Um,
Hey.
in the indie romance genres. Christina C. Jones, also lovely known in the literary streets as Miss CCJ.
Yes.
So I just want to say thank you. Could you introduce yourself? Tell us the genres, or if it's not in a box, just don't even say it. And anything we want to know before we get started with these questions.
So I am, and I'm sorry, I keep pushing my glasses up. It drives me crazy too. I'm Christina C. Jones. I write romance. I write Black romance. It's always going to be Black, but outside of that, like I can guarantee the Black and the romance part. Everything else is literally a mixed bag. Um, I don't. I'm not always outside of the box. Sometimes I'm definitely in the box, and then sometimes I'm kind of stepping, I'm standing in two different boxes, just
Yeah.
kind of depending. Um, I I do enjoy a little weirdness, a little paranormal here and there. I love contemporary. I haven't done a ton with dark romance. I've kind of, just kind of dabbled, like just a little bit, like just like my pinky toe
Mhm.
in dark romance. I like to explore, but not a ton yet. Definitely sports romance. um what else have I done? Rom-coms. I have been trying for 5 years to write another rom-com, and life just has not well, I won't say life, but my brain and my muse just has not been on my side with that. I guess they say ain't shit funny, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though I want it to be. Um I'm trying to think of what else. I think, what did I say? Contemporary, paranormal,
Sports romance.
sports romance, rom com. I've done a little bit of like mystery thriller, and I do enjoy that.
Mhm.
I do enjoy a little of that here and there. But yeah, like I said, it's just gonna be all Black and all romance, and those are the only guarantees.
Okay, so can we get the origin story of Christina C. Jones? Can we get the origin story of the woman, the writer, and the culture behind your pen?
So I was a reader. Like as a little girl, like as a child, I was a reader. We did not grow up with like cable, or even if we had cable, my mama wouldn't have let me watch that. I
Hmm.
remember my sister is 10 years older than me, and I was just telling somebody about this the other day. She came home from the army. My sister went to the army, and she came home for like leave, and she brought the movie Soul Food to the house with her. And I don't remember how old I was, but I was way too young to be watching Soul Food. I was way too young to be watching Soul Food. And you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, because I feel like that was before I got my hands on like Zane and Omar Tyree and Eric Jerome Dickey. So I might have to talk to my sister about it, because this might not be her fault. But I had read through everything in my school library and everything in my local public library, all the Boxcar Children, Nancy Drew,
Hmm.
all of that stuff. And this I look, if I can't give another white woman nothing else, my librarian at my little small town library saw that I had read all of that stuff, and she took me to the adult fiction area, and she pointed out Eric Jerome Dickey to me,
Mm,
because I don't know if she had ever actually read any
mm,
any of it. She just knew they were black, and she knew I was black, and she knew I
mm.
had read everything else and needed something else to read.
Yeah.
And I think she saw me looking at Danielle Steele and was like, "Baby, please, like, let me." And I did read. Look, Miss Steele can write a book. Look, I ain't
She
gonna hold
can.
you. She can write a book, but it was real white. It
So
was real white
was.
over there.
It so was.
And so that she introduced me to Eric Jerome Dickey, and it's like from there it was Eric Jerome Dickey, and then like I said, Omar Tyree and Sister Soldier and Terry McMillan and all of those like are black contemporary lit
Mhm.
great. And I feel like that showed me just a whole different culture of blackness that I had never been exposed to. My family was very insular. I grew up in very small town Arkansas, and so I did not have a lot of like the California slang and stuff. Thinking about
Yeah.
like friends and lovers, it's like all of that was incredibly, incredibly new to me. And it was like
Wow.
mind blowing and eye opening for me, as a young black girl in rural Arkansas.
Yeah.
And I really think that experience just really stuck with me, hung with me. It's not a unique experience at all. I've discovered at the time it felt very unique, but I've discovered now the writing of a whole novel in like a notebook and passing it around the whole school for all for
Yeah.
everybody to read, and you
Yeah.
don't know where your book is because it got somebody finished, and then it got passed to the next person, and then passed to the next person, and passed to the next person. That was my first experience really with having other people reading like
Mhm.
things that I had made up in my head. And I think that also kind of stuck with me.
Yeah.
And from there, I went to in college. I was writing fan fiction. I was writing B2K fan fiction.
Oh, not B2K.
In college. And then from B2K, I was writing Criminal Minds fan
Mhm.
fiction. And it was around that time. So we've fast forwarded way past high school. We're
Mhm.
up to 2012,
Mhm.
and I am pregnant. 2012, early 2013. I'm pregnant with my second daughter, and I'm very, very sick. And
Mhm.
I just need something to tether me to the world and give me something completely else to think
Mhm.
about because I'm so sick. And I started writing. And what I started writing at that time ended up being Love and Other Things, which was the first thing that I ended up being the first thing that I published. And at the time, I was also a mommy blogger. I started blogging with my first daughter. And so the first people who read my book were, my peers, were my mommy blogging
Wow.
peers. And they would, it was still Twitter at that time, so
Yeah.
you could retweet, and they were sharing it on Facebook, and they were supporting me at that time, and putting me in front of other people.
Yeah.
And it was on Twitter that I get connected with a group of writers. One of who is Nicole Falls, who is writing, and that's still my dog. To this day,
Yeah.
all the way from back in 2013, and they were sharing, and putting me like connecting me to other writers, to the rest
Mhm.
of the indie romance community, which was tiny back
Mm.
then, like
Yeah.
incredibly, incredibly small back then. Um, and then it just from there, like once I had strangers reading the things that I had written and enjoying it, it was like, oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, let me ask you this.
So, adults like this too.
Hell yeah. You got a flair for comedy and love all in the mix when you write. Like you
That's
really
what I really, really love to do. And that's what makes me even sadder that I have not been able to do another rom-com, because I just want to have fun. I just want to be
but
silly
life be
so
life.
bad.
You know what I'm saying? That's what okay. So let me ask you this. How have life and priorities played into how you shaped your writing career?
Oh, that is, you actually like, this is something I need to be talking to the lady about. Especially as of late. I was actually just texting with someone this morning about how the shift in my life as of late has really been kicking my back in when it comes to
Mm,
this writing stuff, because I feel like at what I would consider the height of, not of my career, because I don't feel like I've reached the height of my
mhm,
career, what I feel like is the height of my productivity.
mhm,
um I was putting out 10 and 12 books a year easily,
mm,
like easily, like it was nothing. Like I was 5 and 6,000 words a day, like it was nothing. And now I'm glad to get, if I can hit 500 or 600 words a day, like I'm like that's a reason for celebration these days. BJ, my third child, he was a complete surprise. He uh pregnant in 2022. He came along in 2023. Being sick as I was, because I have something called HG, like with every pregnancy, hyperemesis gravidarum. Um, it makes you unable to keep any food down, like any nutrients, et cetera, et cetera. And so trying to balance that while also trying to run a business and
mhm,
trying to manage like a career,
mhm,
um, basically impossible.
mm,
Basically impossible. And I really feel like I have been playing catch up since then. Like I really feel like I've been playing catch up since then. I have seen like just this explosion in like support from readers. Not that it wasn't there, but I
yeah.
feel like readers are just so much more aware of indies now. Like they're in their, they're coming to events and putting on events, and
Mhm,
they're building huge platforms to talk about books, to talk about Black authors, to talk
mhm,
about specifically Black indie authors. And
mhm,
it's amazing. And I'm like, man, like this is what we needed, like at the beginning, like at the very, very beginning, when we were having to kind of beg people to even give us a chance. And now it's here, and
yeah.
I can't even get a damn book out.
Mm,
It's
damn.
how it feels, and
Mm,
that's an exaggeration. Like that's an
yeah.
exaggeration. Like I've published, well, I have three that I've published, but were written before, and then I just got the rights back and was able to publish. But I've put out probably 3 or 4 books that I've written from scratch. I'll say it like that.
But it's not at the
In
level
that,
you want it to be.
not anywhere near, not anywhere near. And it's disappointing.
Mm,
For someone like me who, like I said, like I was putting out 10 and 12 books a year. Like I was a high,
mm,
like I was highly productive. Like always, I was always writing. I was always coming up with something new. I was always crafting something,
mm,
putting together some new merch, always doing something. And I just have not had the time. And now that my son is getting a little older, he's getting a little more independent. He's not so like up under me.
yeah.
He'll go, like right now he's hanging out with his sisters. He don't care what I'm doing right now. you know, but it's like at the top of this year, I lost my mom.
I'm
She
sorry to
actually
hear
passed
that.
on inauguration day, and it is my favorite thing to be like, oh, sis said, nah, like y'all, like y'all got that. Like I don't want.
Yeah.
I don't want no parts of that. And I like to think about it like that. Like she was
Mhm.
like, I don't, like this ain't, y'all got it.
Yeah.
Um, but a lot of things, like so many things remind me of her that I didn't even think would.
Mm.
And so many, like just little things. Like I was trying to write House of Takeover, the other two books in the series. Like they both of those books feature like the parents are present, like are kind of, I won't say heavily present, but it's like their presence is there, like it's felt. And I just
Yeah.
I don't even know how to fully articulate it, but my brain was just like, like I'm not there, like to be
Yeah.
able to to be able to do that. And I mean, I'm gonna have to push through that. Like
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to, face it
Mhm.
and make it happen. But like that for sure, because I just knew I was gonna running into 2025. Both of those books are already supposed to be out.
Mm.
That those books are supposed to already,
Mm.
maybe even if not on people's shelves, but certainly like already,
Mhm.
out. Like that's not. I'm supposed to be moved on with my, with my 2025 goals. I was looking at my 2025 goals this morning.
We never stick to our goals. Trust me, life be lifing. Life just
Yeah.
be lifing. So, when you revisit your older work and compare it to where you are now, how has personal and creative growth and even writer's block influenced your storytelling?
Oh. So I something I talk about often with, with my peers is how I long for, it's not that I long for the days of before I was popular.
Mm.
I long for the freedom that I feel
Mm.
like I had before then. Before I was so in my head about it. Back when it was just a hobby,
Mhm.
I did not care so much about, okay, let me make sure that, not that I change who the heroine is, but let me make sure that I show absolutely everything that needs to be shown so that they're not on the internet talking about, oh, she's stupid, she, like
Mhm.
trashing this lady for being human,
Mhm.
like stuff like that. You tend to, I'm sorry, hold on just a second. The baby is screaming. Can y'all hear that?
Mm-mm.
Okay, okay. If y'all can hear it, he all right. I know he all right. um, what was I? Oh, just I feel like the visibility, I
Mm.
feel brings a certain level of pressure along with it to perform at a certain level that is not necessarily a bad thing, because you want to be putting your best foot forward. Like you
Mhm.
should definitely be putting your best foot forward. You should be putting your best work forward, but it's like it's a very tricky balance that I don't feel like I have. Do not feel like I have at all. It's a tricky balance of feeling like you've put your best, feeling like you've put your best forward,
Mhm.
and like actually believing that,
Mm.
even in the face of knowing that somebody's not gonna like it, somebody's
Mm.
gonna nitpick it. And maybe they're not nitpicking, maybe, like they don't have to be nitpicking. It's not, everybody's not always hating on you, they just didn't like it, and sometimes you're gonna run across it, and you have to be able to be okay with that and still keep forward, like still keep
Yeah.
moving forward, still keep writing, not internalizing it. It's why I don't read my reviews at all,
Mm.
because I feel like if I am not going to absorb the negative reviews, like I don't. let me reframe that. I don't seek reviews out. Like if someone tags me in something, like tags me in a video, tags me on Instagram or whatever, I'm going to read it. I'm going to look at it. I'm going to respond, as long as I actually see it. But I do not seek out my reviews. Like I don't go on Amazon. That ain't my business. The good ones or the bad ones, because I feel like you can't only, take in the good reviews, because, they'll have you feeling like you don't need to change anything. And that's probably not true. Like no matter how long you've been writing, you've got something to work on. There's something that you could be developing and working on. But on the flip side of that, if you're only looking at the negative, and you really don't even have to only look at the negative. The negative always seems louder. Like it always seems so loud. And it always, you get one negative review and it's like, it's all 1-star reviews. And it's like, is it all 1-star reviews, or is it like 2 out of 20? It feels like all. It feels like all. And then you take that to your computer with you, next time you're sitting down and you're trying to get some writing done, and all you're thinking in your head is that 1-star review that said, I don't know, your characters are bland. And so now you in your head with your character, who maybe she is a little bland, but maybe that is part of her character development. Like maybe that's where she's starting, but that's not where she's going to end up. But you've internalized it too much, and now you're thinking like, okay, what can I do to make her less bland? You don't need to do anything to make her less bland. You need to tell a story. You need to write the story. And however the story ends up is how the story ends up. But I feel like that's something that we as authors, like we have to be really, really careful with that, because you can easily end up losing your voice as an author, trying to respond to trends, trying to, respond to, everybody's talking about an unhinged main character. I'm gonna write an unhinged main character. All these niggas don't need to be crazy. Like some of them need some sense. Like if he came to you crazy, write him. Yeah. Write him crazy. But if he ain't come to you crazy, you don't need to make him crazy just because everybody, like the TikTok girlies, are talking about the crazy men. Like, write your, he can be, well, probably not square. We don't want nobody wants to square. But just like chill, like low key, like a little, like it's okay for him to just be that. Like it's okay for him to not, blow up a job because he.
Oh, wow.
That's extreme. It's the girl who definitely wrote a main character who showed up with a gun and threatened to air it out. But he was crazy. He was crazy, and I do not write them often.
Wow. So what does inspiration look like for you when you're world building? Is it a character, a moment, or a vibe, or all of the above?
Definitely all of the above. Definitely all of the above. I feel like world building especially is something that kind of comes to me in layers. Like people will ask me like, oh, where'd you get the idea for, XYZ? And the quick and honest answer is, girl, I don't know. I don't remember. But if I, with time, I could go a little deeper into that and say, well, I saw, I was watching TV and this happened, and then I was at the grocery store and this thing over here happened, and then when I got home from the grocery store, I dropped a can of tomato sauce on my toe, and it reminded me of and so it's really all over the place. But it can literally be anything. Like there's a story that I still never have written, but I was driving home one day and I live near a college campus, and I was driving past the college campus, and those kids are crazy. There are very clear and very clearly marked crosswalks, but do they use the crosswalks? No, they don't use the crosswalks. They cross the street wherever they want to cross the street. And so I almost hit somebody. Luckily, I was actually paying attention to the road, so he didn't get hit. Handsome young man. Looked up, waved, smiled. My bad, ma'am. Yeah, you're right. Yo bad. Yo bad. But you know what? What if I wrote a story where, he did get hit, and
Yeah.
my heroine was behind the wheel and he did get hit, like it can be something as small as that. And I never did end up writing that,
Hmm.
but like just different little things that kind of feed, like it's like it all feeds into like a Lord, I'm about to call it a memory bank when I'm really just talking about my brain. Like I can just I can just say brain. But it's like it all kind of feeds in and just kind of lurks waiting for the next part of it, to kind of come in and connect. And so it's all these little things,
Yeah.
and then all it takes is one thing to spark it, and it's like, oh, this is what that was. This is what was,
Mm.
waiting, kind of under
Mm.
the surface for the rest of it to come along.
So let's talk about Black love across genres. So Black love has always existed, but in indie literary spaces is thriving in new ways nowadays. As someone who has been in the game for a minute and have seen from, you know, the digital era being minimal to it being like the big thing now, how do you
Mhm.
maintain your voice and relevance with new authors entering the scene every day?
Um, I try not to think about it.
Mm.
Because that kind of, to me, that kind of factors into the similar thing about not internalizing reviews. I
Mhm.
feel like if you spend too much time trying, so I think it's twofold. Like I've definitely had to adapt to different, forms and formats of social media. I still have
Mhm.
not really like found my lane on like TikTok, for example. I used to be real heavy on Instagram. I used to be real heavy on Twitter, like back when it was Twitter
Mhm.
and there was Black Twitter. Like I was in there. Um, but things have changed, and it's
Mhm.
like the new girls, and I call them girls, they're grown women, but
Mhm.
like the newer authors, it's like they came up on TikTok. They like that's where they built their audience, and they're incredibly good at it. Like they know how to connect, they know how to show up. They're not necessarily worried about it being like I feel like if you came up on Instagram, it's like there is a certain level of like polish that you feel like there needs to be, back when Instagram was really about pictures. And
Mhm.
so like I feel like that kind of factors in. And I'm not saying that they're ugly, they cute, they real cute. But it's like they're not so worried about it being a production. That's more what it is. They're not so much concerned about the production. They just show up authentically and they're just themselves, and readers respond to that.
Mhm.
And I think that's amazing. I just don't That's not how I was accustomed necessarily to using social media. And so it wouldn't be authentic to me. I can try to force it,
Mhm. Mhm.
but if that wouldn't be me, like that wouldn't be real. And so I have to figure out like, okay, I want to show up. I
Yeah.
want to, I want it to be natural. I want it to be genuine. And so how do I make that work for me instead of trying to just do what I see the other girls doing that works for them?
Yeah.
And it's difficult, and it's a very easy, I think, trap to end
Yeah.
up caught in that comparison of trying to do what you see everybody else doing.
Mhm.
Um, because it rarely works that
It doesn't.
well.
It
It
doesn't.
rarely works that well. What ends up happening, or the people that it actually works for, is they may have started doing what they saw somebody else doing, but they put their own flavor on it. They put their own, spin on it. They put their own, like they made it their own.
Yeah.
And that's what resonated with people. That's how it was able to, like to actually work. And so I have just been trying to like keep being, just keep being me.
Yeah.
um I feel like I have to kind of let go of some of that, like I said, that Instagram training to be like very polished on social media. And it's not that I like, look, I have YouTube videos where I am literally in my bonnet. I got featured in a thing on BookBub that was like authors to watch out for who have YouTube channels. They literally took a fucking screenshot of me in my bonnet. And I was cute. The picture was cute, and the bonnet, like it really just like, it kind of just looked like I have like a hat on. And
Yeah.
so like it was
Wow.
fine. But I'm literally in my bonnet. And so it's not that I feel like I have to be necessarily polished, but the video itself is absolutely produced. Like my lights are on, I'm filming with, $1,000 camera, blah, 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 blah. And I have to train myself to, girl, just pick up your phone. Like,
Mhm.
it's fine. You
Yeah.
don't have to go find your camera. You don't have to go find your ring light. Just grab your phone. And I can do it sometimes. And then sometimes I just cannot, I can't get myself around it. But I love that about the New Girls. I really like, it's legitimately
Mhm.
inspiring to me, because I feel like back when I was coming up, it's like we didn't have we were not as embraced. And I love that they get to like just show up and just be themselves and present the work, and and be like embraced and be accepted and be supported. Like I love that. I love that. And
Yeah.
I hope that that is able to continue even beyond, like, if we get hit with another TikTok
Oh God.
ban. I'm hoping that, is able to, you know, like it's
Yeah.
able to translate to another platform, whatever. Well, wherever we go, like Black folks,
We
we
make it
always make
work.
it hot.
We make it work. We make it work. So you've written across so many genres and tropes. So you have your MC romance, which I love, The Predators. I wish there were more
That's the one I
books.
was forgetting. Yes.
I wish there were more books. The paranormal series, Blackwood at the Dark, Lord Jesus. Sports romance, Connecticut Kings, enemies to lovers trope, hostile
Yes.
takeover. Which genre feels like home to you? Like, and which one challenges you the most?
So I'll start with the one that challenges me the most, because it feeds into why I have never written a full length in that genre. The paranormal is what challenges me the most.
Girl, why?
Um, it's the world building, the world building, the characterizations, like figuring out the lore and stuff. It's like, on one hand, you have all the freedom in the world,
Yeah.
which is like, yes. But on the other hand, you got all the freedom in the world, which is like terrifying. And it's like, you have to figure out how to get it right, how to, make sure that you're not contradicting yourself on anything,
Mm.
make sure that you're not, make sure that you're not being offensive, because I feel like that's something that kind of gets a little overlooked, like when
Mm.
you're building out in places where you might be kind of leaning into like African lore,
Mm.
or like people's cultural stuff.
Mm.
um like, you got to be well, I won't say you got to, you should probably be careful, with that stuff, because like that is like, it's important, like it's deeply important and deeply
Mm.
meaningful. And so you want to treat it with care. And
Mm.
so I it's it's laziness.
But you do
And
it
I
so
really hate to say
well.
that. I appreciate that so much. I appreciate that so much. And I really hate to frame it as laziness, because that, I feel like that's not exactly true.
Mm.
Um I feel like if I had not had the baby and, my mom passed and stuff like that, like, I feel like if I had more bandwidth for writing,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I would have by now taken my time and like really devoted, like a real 6 months just to one project
Mm-hmm.
to build it out and to really make it happen. Like I think about like Wonder, for example. Like Wonder, it's not quite paranormal. It's like urban fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Alice in Wonderland retelling. I took my time with Wonder, and Wonder was years in the making in my head first.
Mm.
And then I'm sorry, let me turn my give me a second. I'm gonna turn my overhead light on. It's about to storm here. And so hey, storm.
Uh-oh.
But it's about to storm here, and so I'm losing light. Okay. But so that's the one that challenges me the most.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to do more. I do want to
Mm-hmm.
do more. I want to take the time to take my time and really, really fully flesh out something. It was supposed to be what I did with Friction. Well, not I'm going to walk that back, because Friction was the introduction of like a new lane of
Mm-hmm.
paranormal. I still have the other 5 books, or the other 4 books in a 5-book series to kind of finish it out. But if you notice, Friction, it has that little parenthetical touch with it. Each of the books will be one of the 5 senses, and then follow like a different type of,
Oh.
I want to say paranormal creature, but that's not like exactly it. But the idea from the series, strangely enough, the television show Supernatural, where like back when it first started, where it was like a monster of the week every week, and it was this different, like a different, like there was werewolves and there was ghouls, and there was something different every week. Now I'm not gonna write any ghouls. I'm not gonna write a let me not say that. I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna write a werewolf. I won't be writing one in the sense that they existed on that show.
Okay.
I'll say that. But it is, I'm excited for the potential of it. And so
Mm-hmm.
I'm really kind of letting it all marinate so
Mm-hmm.
that I'm able to give it, what I feel like it should have, so that it really gets like the world building and all of that it deserves. As far as what feels like home, I would say like my straight up contemporary, that is
Mm-hmm.
what feels like home to me. Like
You
that's
can
where I feel like my
tell.
roots are. That's where I feel like, like in that lane where like even though Eric Jerome Dickey, I would not categorize him as romance. Like I would categorize that as just adult fiction, or
Mm-hmm.
women. I would venture to say women's fiction, even though
I
he was a man.
I would
But
say
I would,
women's fiction and erotica.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely, absolutely. And I think that my home more closely mirrors that, but
Mm.
with a little more on the romance than the women's fiction
Okay.
of it all. Even though I do want to eventually write something that is more, like more on the women's fiction side.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that I would be able to not put any romance in it though. Well, I don't think you have to not put any romance in it,
Yeah.
but I think I'm always gonna lean like heavily into the romance side of things.
You know Reggie Dupree? You ever heard of her?
The name sounds familiar.
Reggie Dupree, she is like a supernatural, not paranormal. She's supernatural, right? Supernatural women's fiction. And
Okay.
the romance is about that minute. The story, but the story carries by, the plot.
Yeah.
So she puts like she gives you like that much romance like for a hot second. And I do mean a
Yeah.
second. Like it's about 4 paragraphs and that's it. And then
You
the
said
rest
Reggie
Reggie
Dupree?
Dupree. And then the rest of it is really based off of women's fiction, the woman's journey. But in a like supernatural aspect, and she does that really well. I love her books. It's like Hoodoo Haven. That's the name of the books.
Yeah, I'm looking. These covers are beautiful. I feel like I had seen the name mentioned before, but I had not seen like the covers and stuff before. Thank you, because I need somebody to read. So
Yeah, her and T.K. Richards. She does women's fiction really good. So it's, I mean, I like that. It's more leading with the women's story and their journey, and the romance is
yeah,
like minimal, in those type of books. So, and we need
thank
more.
you.
We need more Black women doing that.
Yeah, yeah, because it's like I feel like there's a subset of readers who just don't take romance seriously.
Mm-hmm.
And not that I feel a need to cater to that, but I feel like a lot of the explosion in, more authors, more availability, I do feel like it's been heavily skewed to romance. And I'm
Mm.
not saying that the romance authors need to fill the
Mm-hmm.
that gap, but I do feel like we need like it's important to see that growth in in other areas, not just romance, because like
Because it's based on realism. You got to look at it like you have people
yeah,
who are asexual, who are what is it, aromantic? That's what it's
yeah,
called.
yeah,
And so they're not really into the whole romance part.
yeah, but
So
they deserve to be able to still feel seen. They deserve to still be able to have that escape of reading and having the stories and having the black fantasy stories, not fantasy romance, just flat out fantasy, and
yeah,
black sci-fi, and
yeah,
et cetera. And I could have a blind spot because that's not where my interest lies,
hmm,
in literature. But I feel like I don't see it. Like I feel like I don't see like I said, like the same level of explosion that we've had in romance,
yeah.
is not necessarily present in the other genres. And I hope that we're able to see, I hope that we're able to see that same, kind of boom.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a diverse reader. I read white,
Mhm.
black, purple, green, whatever, but I'm also a heavy paranormal, supernatural, fantasy, sci-fi, horror, and psychological thriller type girl. I do read romance a lot, but people fail to realize that I read heavily paranormal and supernatural.
Mhm.
So it it gets kind of screwed because people want romance in everything, and so, how you were talking about the trends and people try to keep up with
Yeah.
the trends. Some authors will lose themselves to the
Yeah.
trend and don't realize the writing style was made for somebody who really, really wanted that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's okay to go outside of your box. I never tell anybody to stifle anybody's creativity, but I feel like a lot of times people go for trends so they can get that popularity, not
Yeah.
understanding that you just may have caused you to lose money because there is a big community of black women and men that
Yeah.
love paranormal, that love supernatural, that love horror and psychological thrillers and stuff like that. A lot of us are out here and we don't want anything to do with romance about it.
Yep, you're
Nothing.
losing your core reader because you're
Yeah.
trying to chase this other thing. And I think also people think that romance is easy. It's not.
Mm.
It is not. I cannot tell you how many TV shows, like I will be watching a TV show, and the season will end and the season pick back up. Like, okay, I'm about to say something, and people are going to think I'm saying it for one reason. That's not the reason I'm saying it. The Walking Dead.
Mm.
I was watching The Walking Dead. Season ended, season popped back up. All of a sudden, Rick and Michonne is a couple. Like, where the
Facts.
fuck that come from?
Facts.
I don't care about them being an interracial couple because like after I just accepted it, like that's his woman. And
Can't give no
Rick
backstory.
coming for him, like I was with it, like I was all into it, but that came out of nowhere. There
No
was no
backstory.
build up. They did not write that romance. Like they did not write the lead up for that well. And so many shows do that. And I
Mm-hmm.
think it's because the writers think that it's easy. They think that the audience is just going to accept anything. And
Mm-hmm.
maybe the people in the audience who don't read romance will just accept it like, oh, okay, they're a couple now. But romance readers, we're like, where was the build up? Where was the tension? Where was the, like where was the little subtle signs? Like where was the attraction? Like we didn't see any of that. And now you just shove these people together. And I think like I've seen critiques of, like urban fantasy, or not urban fantasy necessarily, but fantasy in general. Like I've seen the critiques of that was
Mm-hmm.
like the romance just was not done well here. Like this person can write a book, everything else was done really really well, but the romance was just not it. And
Yeah.
I think it's because people think that it's simple. People think
I,
that it's easy and they think anybody can do it. And the reason they think anybody can do it is because it's mostly women doing it.
you know, ugh. Woo 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 before I say this. God. All right. So I think, and this goes into something I was talking earlier when I was on Booked and Busy's live. This whole scenario, a struggle of. Mm. Whoa, whoa, I'm gathering it, y'all. I'm gathering it. But this whole mentality, and the crazy part about it is not coming from outside the house. It's coming from inside the house of people um saying these things about struggle love. We are so we are so picky, and we pick on each other so much.
Mm-hmm.
But when we read outside of us, we never complain. And this is
Mm-hmm.
a general statement. This is not coming for anybody. This is just a general statement. When you read white romance, there's a struggle there, but it's not called struggle love. It's just, oh, we have our ups and downs.
Mm-hmm.
Black and POC, but it's mainly black. Y'all will literally get on this here app and say, with your whole flat chest, I can't read black romance, black paranormal, black fantasy, or black across the board because it's too much trauma and too much struggle love. So you mean to tell me that Ricky Joe over there in that book
Mm-hmm.
that was getting ostracized by his family, that wasn't trauma? That wasn't struggle? But the minute you see urban, or you see anything that has a black author and it has romance in it, oh my god, we struggling like we still on the ships.
It's not that. They just don't like black men.
Girl, I don't even think they like themselves.
That either. But that's something that I have. So I remember when Getting Schooled came out.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it got a bit of crossover appeal. I don't know what it was, but it ended up getting a bit of crossover appeal. And the white girlies, like the white book girlies, were picking it up and they were loving it. And they were leaving reviews, and some of them, I caught a few microaggressions, you
Mm-hmm.
know, et cetera, et cetera. But that's to be expected. But there
Right.
was this one black reviewer who rated the series 3 stars because of my use of, and this is her words, because of my use of the N word. And she called it urban fiction. Now, how in the world does a rom com series set literally at a pretty small town college, what was urban about it?
Girl, I got a
What was
scoop.
urban about it was the fact that they was using nigger. That's what was urban.
Oh, let me
And
let me switch my drink.
it sparked this whole discourse, and like I was getting called ignorant. Me and my characters getting called ignorant for using, for using the N word, and why would you use that? And meanwhile, like I said, the white girls loving it. They cool, they kicking it, they reading it, they loving Reese and Jason. But some of the black girls, well, I can't recommend this on my site because they use the N word, and I don't feel comfortable recommending it to my white followers.
I want to say this.
And they still be them same girls. They on Booktalk, they on TikTok.
Oh,
They
I
they
have,
still around, and
I
they've
have
been in
friends.
they've been in other controversies since then.
I,
Them
I've,
same girlies,
I've probably
and
ran into them and probably done cussed their ass out by name.
probably very much probably so. But the same girls, they don't have an issue with what Ian and Connor and with what they're doing in the IR romance or in the straight up white romance. They don't have a problem with it. That's just dark romance to
See,
them.
I believe any author that is black can have a crossover appeal, no matter across the board. I don't give a damn
Right.
what genre you are in. But the problem, here lies the problem. Here lies the problem. I feel like a lot of y'all, once again, terms are general. These are general statements, not pointing anybody out, but if the shoe fits, wear it. Um, the problem is that y'all so black that you're not black. And I want you to take that and soak it in. Some of y'all are so black, you're not black. You're not benefiting the community. You're not benefiting anybody but a view, a like, and viral moment. I feel like some of y'all like really reach in and try to take the AAVE that we fought so hard to have and take it away because you think it's going to be palatable for those that are not black. When those who are not
Mm-hmm.
black are looking at the books that you are talking about and saying, damn, that's a good fucking story. But
Look, baby, these white girls. What was Jaquel's latest Kasim?
she made a whole
I saw
video.
I saw white girls on here
Yes. Yes.
because they if it's a good story, it's a good story.
Across the board. I we want our authors to get this notoriety. We do. We need them to because when they get up here, they can reach down and get the next
Yep.
author and pull them up. The problem that is the ignorance to shuck and jive for those who don't even give a fuck about you.
Yep.
Them people are doing their thing and they like what they like while you're trying to impress them and get into
Yep.
their, bubble and their thing. Lord forbid they turn on you. Cause then you coming back to us like, oh my God, they called me the N-word. So, I feel like if you are that type of person, stay where you at. Stay where you feel comfortable. Just don't come over
That's
here
the
with
thing.
that bullshit.
That's the thing because baby, like you and I'm not gonna talk about that girl today.
What? Are you talking about crying Mary?
No, not her.
I thought you were
I
talking
have
about Mary weeping.
or not who I believe you're talking about. I don't think we're talking about the same person. But I'm gonna leave that lady alone today.
Girl.
But it's like I did not ask you to. I didn't ask you or your cohort. Like I did not ask any of you. To read these books. Like you should read. I firmly believe. I and this might be controversial. I do not believe in encouraging people to read diversely. I believe people should read what they want to read.
Mm-hmm.
I think that you, as a person, should, as a black woman, I think that you should want to read books with people who look
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you. I definitely think you should want that. But what happens is when these people who do not want to read diversely, it is not in them. That is not
Mm-hmm.
what they want to do. They pick up our books
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and they trash them in the reviews,
Mm-hmm.
and they bring down our ratings, and it does not do anybody any good.
Yeah, I just y'all hear me out, y'all. Y'all know
I'm
me.
sorry, there was a
Are
real loud thunderclap
you
and it
good?
took me off guard. I'm
Uh,
fine.
y'all hear me out, and I'm not trying to offend nobody. And those who know me know me. And Nicole, I promise I'm not gonna go left with what I'm about to say. But I feel like the judgment of people that look like us compared to these motherfuckers is different. Because I could give a flying fuck what one of these say. But when one of these that look like
Yeah,
me go so hard in the paint, it irritates me. It literally makes me feel like, damn, are we not the same? Are,
yeah,
are are we not the same? Did we not have the same struggles with our ancestors? What the fuck? So I feel like, yes, you can read diversely. I read diversely. I read IR. I read white authors. I read all that. But I will always put a black author up here. I will
mm-hmm,
always. I don't give a fuck what type of genre they write in. If they black, they black. Point blank.
mm-hmm,
Period. What I don't respect is people who get on here who make videos intentionally to harm or hurt an author just for a like, click, and review view. I
yeah,
don't like y'all doing these DNF videos, and once again, this is my opinion. I don't like y'all doing these DNF videos discouraging black authors. If it wasn't for you, we ain't gotta know. We ain't gotta know. I don't like y'all getting in these inboxes with these authors and feeling entitled.
yeah. No,
I don't like the entitlement. And I don't like y'all don't know boundaries.
yeah,
So these are just some of the things that just really irritates me, because the creativity that they're giving us is what we asked for. We have been asking for years for black authors to see us and write stories about us. So we got it. It
mm-hmm,
started out with street lit, urban fiction, contemporary romance. You got it, paranormal. We have it across the board. It is the fucking entitlement
yeah.
that irritates me, that you will come on this here app and make a fool and mockery of the black literature that we've been so hard pushing,
Yeah.
and for audiences that don't really care.
So I feel two ways about it. Like, on one hand, I do think that it's important for readers to have space to talk
Mm-hmm.
honestly, about the books, and about, what they're feeling about them. And like, I think that that's important. Like, legitimately, I think that that's important. I do think that there is a fine line between expressing your dislike of something and why you didn't like it, and
Mm-hmm.
then going into like attack mode and being nasty about it.
Yeah.
And that's not unique to Book Talk. Like, I see it with, people talking about people's perfumes, people's clothing brands,
Mm-hmm.
people's music, people like I see it in everything. And it's like, again, I like it's it becomes a little difficult for the author to navigate,
Mm-hmm.
in the space, because it's like you want to be accessible and you want to be available, to people, but it's like there is a certain level of, it's like there's a, like you said, it's like a lack of it's like a lack of boundaries almost, where it's like, why do you think you get to say that to me? Like, why do you like, and their head, I like my one of my friends is always, talking about how I'm able to, I think it's been a very long time since I've like crashed out on the internet. I was good for it. Like, I would get my little Twitter fingers going in a hot second. And now I don't do that anymore because You
I need
know,
to learn
I
that.
just I don't I just don't have the bandwidth anymore, you know, like to be arguing and stuff on the internet. But like I have had stuff in my inbox before
Mm-hmm.
that is like, bitch, you got to see me next time. Next time. Yes, about this book because of what you felt like you could hop in my inbox and, you know, say to me, you know, because I wrote a book. Like, are you crazy? And maybe so, you know. And not everything is like that. Like,
Yeah.
not everything was like that, you
Yeah.
know. Like, there are absolutely people who are able to, you know, articulate,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like this book. This is why.
Mm-hmm.
These are my reasons about the book,
Mm-hmm.
not about the author. I'm not going to
Exactly.
suggest the author shouldn't be writing books anymore. I'm not going to suggest that the author is dumb. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not going to, you know, I'm not going to get on the internet and be nasty, you know, to somebody because I didn't like a book. You know, I'm just going to say, I didn't like this shit. And here's why. You know, and
Exactly.
that should be fine. It might be hurtful, you know, to the author if you run across it, but it's like there's again that line. It's like
Mm-hmm.
we're all sensitive about, you know,
Yeah.
about the things that we do and about the things that we create and enjoy. And something can be hurtful to me as the recipient of it, but the person saying it hasn't actually done anything wrong,
Yeah.
you know, by saying it. But some of the stuff does just get nasty and
I,
mean.
I get it. I get it. I look at my DMs all the time, and some of the people that say the shit about me, ghetto, hood, um, classless, you drink too much, you always talking about grass, blah 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 blah. Too much. You got white people, and you interviewing white people too, blah blah blah. Yeah, I get it all, and I'm a crash
Always
out for
something.
real. I'm a crash out for real. Like I'll call you by name, like crash out. But I'm learning that a lot of people just want a reaction. They want
That's
they
yep.
want they want a reaction. They want your attention. So sometimes I just have to leave it in the DMs. You know what I'm saying? Just I see it, but I'm not gonna address the
Yep.
shit. You know what I'm saying? So I get it. So let me ask you something. Like with each genre or trope that you write, how do you keep your voice distinct while still staying true to your signature CCJ vibe?
Oh, that is another. My face might not look like it. Like I might look like I'm in pain, but I'm really enjoying these questions. Like they're really thoughtful questions, but I'm like, oh. um it's tough. It's tough.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely tough, but I think that is I think that it's helped me
Mm-hmm.
not write a lot of books that feel like they're exactly the same
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like because I'm bouncing from here to here to here to here, it's like I'm almost breaking, like I'm breaking that connection,
Mm-hmm.
you know, so that I'm not like still in that kind of same mindset. I think the things that are kind of consistent throughout all my work, um the banter, you know, between the
Mm-hmm.
characters, the dialogue,
Mm-hmm.
like just feeling very authentically black, not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily everybody's, all of my characters don't say the N word. All of my
Mm-hmm.
characters don't use slang. Sometimes they'll have an accent. And even though, of course, you can't read an accent, like I might do something like very specifically, like she doesn't, you know, she doesn't use, contractions, like
Mm-hmm.
she everything is not isn't is not, because
Mm-hmm.
English is her second language, and so she's that's just part of her speech patterns.
Yeah.
Different little things, different nuances like that. um and so I'm making sure that those things carry through. Even in my more serious stuff, like I try to have a little levity. Like I try to have like a little bit of like it's gonna be some funny stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Occasionally, and not the most appropriate time, but is it ever always? I feel like that's realistic. Like, you
Yeah.
know, it might not always be the most appropriate time. Like I think about like I had my friends cackling like when Target, decided to act crazy. Like, baby, I would be in Target, like, I kid you not, 3 days a week. And then they decided to show their ass. And I was like, my mama just died. Why would you do this right now? Like, right now?
My God.
Now. This is when you want to act up. Like, I need you more than ever right now, Target. That's staying my ass out of Target. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like, I just ain't been in there at all.
Yeah.
But it's been
hard.
Way scaled back to the point that my husband was like, because he noticed, because it would be when we would have our quarterly budget meeting. He was like, this is how much you spent at Target this quarter. This past one, he was like, hey, keep it up. It's not funny, okay? You don't know what I'm going through. He was impressed by how much money I have not spent in Target. And I like, hey, if this is what it took, this is just what it took. But I'm sorry, I'm off on a tangent.
Nah, I feel it, because that's me and Amazon. My husband be like, please help me.
Like, can we slow it down?
Please. So, okay, let me ask you this. There is this line that sometimes even authors do. They copying my style, but you're just doing it in the same trope or genre. And it's really not that. It is just, here we go with the infighting. How do you feel about that?
So this topic is actually something that has been heavily discussed with my therapist, and was even brought up by my husband as of recent. As I'll come back to that. So years and years ago, I was accused of plagiarism. And it wasn't even the person that was supposedly plagiarized. But since then, that really ruined my relationship with reading. It was a hater. Like, and when I tell you she hit her mark, she hit her mark. And I have been traumatized since then, because I had not, like, it simply did not happen. And the way that I coped with it, the way that I internalized it was, I ain't reading shit. So you can't say I copied your shit, because I promise you I didn't read it. I read my friends, because they know I'm not copying them. You know what I mean? And so that's who I'm going to read. I'm going to read Love Bellman. I'm going to read Nicole Falls. I'm going to read Alexandra Warren. I'm going to read Danielle Allen. You know what I mean? And others, of course. But it's like, because those are my girls. They know that it ain't never none of that. And anybody else, if you hop in my inbox with that bullshit, baby, we going to war. Because no, I didn't. Because I ain't even read your shit. Which is really unhealthy. Actually, like, that is actually that's actually very unhealthy, because, like I said, it ruined my relationship with reading. Like, it took a lot of the joy of reading from me, because I felt like, well, I can't read that, because what if I end up writing something like that, and then here this person comes, saying that I copied them, and how can I prove that I didn't? If that book is sitting in my Kindle, how can I prove that I didn't? So the answer to it is, it's not going to be in my Kindle. I'm not going to read it, which sucks. It sucks a lot, actually. And then you contrast that with, me being a person who has often been referred to as a trailblazer. And I accept that. I accept that, because there absolutely have, there absolutely have been trends that I've started. I've noticed that, I wrote something and now everybody else is writing it. And that's just a trend. Like, I don't take any, I don't feel like, oh, they're copying me. Like, I don't feel
Mm-hmm.
like that. There has been some copying. There's definitely there's definitely been some copying, whether it was, you know, subconscious or not. Like I've definitely had my nachos reheated. And I've also had my nachos reheated, and she put her own, you know, she added some guac and some sour cream and some salsa and some cotija cheese, and she put it together, and I've got no criticism of it, because that's what you're supposed to do. If you gonna do it, put some extra on it. Put some, you know, put some I can't think of the word that but put some little extra accoutrements on it, and do it. Like, that's what being an influencer, like, everybody say they want to be an influencer. Influence.
Girl, don't even
You know, but some of it is just copying.
As I don't like, well, I guess I am a content creator, bookish content creator. I feel like the wheel has already been established. You know, it gets remade all the time. Your personality is never the same as somebody else unless you directly copy it.
Yeah.
And I hate when people say, "Oh, look at this girl copying me. Look at this guy copying me." Did they really? Did they really? I think in this social media world, people get in their feelings a lot. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of people that do copy, but they do copy. they do they do copy to like the T. But there are some people who are inspired by it, and they put their own flair on it. And then a lot of times when you see them putting their own flair on it, and you see that they are getting more attention than what you do, you get mad and say, "Oh, they copying me."
Yeah.
Please, Jesus, stop doing that. Y'all need to stop doing that shit. Like, it's not that serious.
Yeah, there is, like, I agree. I think that both things are happening. Like, sometimes it is just somebody copying, but sometimes, you want to know something that really shook me up and really has been helping kind of heal that. I keep calling it trauma, and it feels so it feels so dramatic, but it really, like, it legitimately was traumatizing to me. But I have had ideas that I did not do anything with. I did not tell anybody a thing about. And I have watched people do, when I say to the T, the exact idea that I had. They couldn't have copied it, because I didn't. It was still in my head. Like, I had not told a soul. So how could they have copied it? They didn't copy it. They just had the idea too. Like, and it makes me think of, I saw somebody that I do not know how true it is, but it was something about how Michael Jackson was saying that he would hurry up and put stuff out because he was afraid that if he didn't, that God was going to give the same inspiration to Prince, and that Prince was going to do it before he had a chance to do it. I feel like that legitimately happens. I feel like no idea is completely original. And I feel like that has been proven to me over and over, when, like I said, I've had to watch people, and you want to know what hurts about it? It's stuff that I could have done and sat on and didn't do. And so now I gotta watch somebody else. I gotta watch somebody else do it, and everybody, it's like, oh my God, that's so cool. And I'm like, it is cool. And I really wish I had did it 2 years ago when I first thought about it. And again, like, that's no shade to the person who did it, because they're not copying. They just had the same idea, but they were able to get out of their head, not let imposter syndrome, overtake them. They were able to get up, get out, and do the damn thing when I didn't. And it's like, what do I do with that? I still, going back to, like, your original question. I think that I think also sometimes that I think authors let readers get in their head and hype them up about the copying thing too, because I've had people inbox me like, hey, did you see so and so is doing XYZ that you were doing? And I was like, oh yeah, I think it's great. And I shut it down because don't come bringing me nothing like that. Now, I did have somebody where somebody was very much like, it was like, hold on, I know that ain't my shit. Like, and I did file that copyright claim because whoa, like it was like that. It was like bar for bar, like it was for real copying. Now I definitely tell me stuff like that for sure. Tell me stuff like that so that I can file that DMCA takedown. But like somebody else, writing a sports team, like, please get out of my inbox. Like, me and Love Velvet are not the first people to create a fictional sports team. I am not the first person to create, a fictional town. Like, I'm not the first to write vampire. Like, I'm
yeah.
Some of this stuff is exactly like you said. It's tropes, and it is conventions of the trope. Like, I do not, nobody copied you because your hero called the heroine a good girl while she was on her knees. Like, baby, that
ain't hell.
75% of romance books got that in it. Like,
hell, real life got that in it. Shit, what the fuck? But you know what? I just want all readers, all content creators and authors that are on here, copyright your shit before somebody else does it. Copyright your shit because somebody can take your name today and you can't get it back. So copyright your shit.
Yeah, get your domain names. Like if you have something that you're thinking about, grab the domain name for it. Like I just saw like a few weeks ago, or even it may not have even been that long, but it was a parent who her son was like a school athlete or whatever, and he was a really, really good athlete. She went ahead and she got his domain name, so that when he gets older, like if he's able to go to those heights, he already has that in place. And so don't wait for your ideas to necessarily, hit that heights, because it's like once it's there, somebody else may have scooped you, because they doing that now. Look at what happened with Jules and very demure, very mindful. Somebody had tried to rush in and get that before she had a chance to get it, and it's like people are doing stuff like that these days.
Absolutely.
So if you have it and you feel like you gonna do something with it, or maybe if you have it and you do something with it, ain't no if, do something with it before somebody else get it.
Because the announcement I have after this, I promise you, my shit is copyrighted. I'll sue the hell out of y'all.
I know that's right.
I'll sue a black girl type what? Huh, yeah. All right. I'll sue your ass. Give me my money. Now, you built whole families across your books. The Finns, the Fines, the Clarks, the Wright brothers, the Love sisters, hell, the Blackwoods. What draws you to write about love within community and siblinghood and family dynamics that defy stereotypes but feel deeply earned?
I think because I don't have like a big close knit family. Like I'm very separated from like and I mean like blood family. Like I'm very separated from everybody else because my parents were very separated from everybody else, and it's something that my husband and we really try to like this summer, like my girls, like they've been on the phone with their cousins all day for like weeks at this point. It's actually starting to get on my nerves. But I love it. And so I haven't said anything because like I want them to have, to have that relationship and have that connection, because I don't have that. And I feel like there is just something very like it's just very endearing to me, like the idea of everybody just kind of in community and building like all these different little connections. I'm sure it's very annoying, like if somebody were to break up and like not only is that your ex-boyfriend, he is also, you know, your best friend's cousin, and he also works at your favorite coffee shop, and he also, so you gotta see this nigga everywhere you go.
Right.
You can't escape, you know. And so it's like, but in the context of the romance novels, none of that is happening. Like nobody's breaking up. Like we in this forever. And so like it's sweet and it's good and it's cute. And I really, really love like community. Like I like it's so important, especially Black community. Like having, you know, those people who have your back, and it may not, I like found family a lot.
Yeah.
So it's people that are not necessarily blood related to you, but people who you have, who don't have to be around you, but want to be around you because you've built like that level of connection with them. Which is funny to even mention because, you know, you bring up the fines, like that's not just me, like that's me, that's Alexandra, that's Nicole. We still gotta write some more with them. We still gotta clock back in on that.
I was trying to smooth it in because I saw the comments. I'm looking at the comments, but I'm sitting here like I'm gonna smooth it in there. So when have y'all like, you know, maybe possibly, you know, the fines, you know?
So what's funny is as every holiday approaches, we're like, Fine Family Cruise, Fine Family Thanksgiving, Fine Family Juneteenth. It's like we always will throw it out there. We have like a little group chat and we'll always throw it out there with each other. But typically what has been happening typically is we're not all the alignment. It just has not lined up right with everybody being, you know, in a good writing headspace, or, you know, one of us might be like in the middle of a longer project, or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So the timing just hasn't lined up. But I need to message them because Juneteenth and 4th of July are both coming up. So I need to do my I need to initiate the holiday, the pre-holiday messaging of, hey, I wonder what they're doing.
I'm just saying. I just want to know. I was just, you know, curious, you know. So, what makes a female character worthy of being in your book?
I'm trying to figure out how to approach my initial thought was just being herself, like just by virtue of just being her. But I do feel it's something I've noticed. I feel like a certain heroine tends to gravitate towards me. I feel like a smart mouth heroine is always gonna have my heart. She doesn't necessarily have to be like, you know, a business owner or, you know, or anything like that, but certainly someone who is like very very internally assured. Even if they might still have like, you know, an insecurity over here, or they might be in a relationship that they should have let go. Sorry, baby again. They might be in a relationship that they should have let go of years ago, or like it's not that they are perfect, or and it's not that they are, you know, just, you know, the perfect Miss Independent, or, you know, are always going to make the right decision, or are always going to say the right thing. But there is a certain level of security, you know, in themselves, a certain level of understanding of who they are and what they want, that always just tends to kind of gravitate, like for me, and always really kind of stands out for me. And I feel like that's something that I can see in each of my heroines, even if, like I said, like there might be some other little thing, you know, like she might be real mean because she's, you know, she's grieving, a certain relationship in her life, or she
Yeah.
might be a little too slick at the mouth. She might just be, like et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Like there's gonna be some other thing to her,
Mhm.
but at the core, like just that ability to speak up for herself,
Mhm.
like absolutely that. And I think that it's probably because it took me time to kind of grow into that,
Mhm.
um like personally. um I feel like not I wouldn't necessarily call myself a people pleaser, because it's not that. I i try to be very careful with my words, because if I am not intending to offend you, I want to make sure that there's no way that what I'm saying can come across offensive. If
Yeah.
I want you offended, it's not gonna be any question. Like it's not gonna be ambiguous at all. And so
Yeah.
with people that I don't want offended, I try to be, very I'm thinking about love, because she always says this about me, that that I am able to, like, that I'm able to, I'm able to keep it cute. Like
Yeah.
when it needs to be cute, I'm able to keep it that way. But as of like maybe the last 5 to 10 years, and it's probably just growing up. I'm 38,
Mhm.
so it's probably just, getting older and
Yeah.
maturing. I just let the smart mouth fly, and it's something that, my husband has. He does not give me reason typically to get smart with him. It's typically other people. Like, I remember, like, I always think about this situation that we put on this event called Girl Have You Met. Me and Alexandra, we have Girl Have You Read. We put on an event called Girl Have You Met.
Mhm.
And we had all the authors, a lot of the authors had sent their books to me, because we were going to host the event in Memphis. And I live very close to Memphis. I'm about 3, 4, maybe 4 hours away from Memphis. And so we were supposed to rent a van to, haul all these books to Memphis for the event. So we get up to Enterprise car rental, and we see they got like 2 vans in the lot. And so we're waiting. We get there and they're like, "Hold on, and we're waiting." Another set of people comes in. They get shown out to the vans. And so I'm like, "Well, that's interesting." And so after they helped them, even though they came in after us, now they want to come to us. "Oh, I'm so sorry. We don't have any."
Oh.
And my husband was like, "Christina, go out. Go sit in the car."
Oh.
Go.
Oh.
Because he already knew, and I did not go sit in the car.
Oh.
And but long story short, my husband is a member of Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity, and
Oh,
he
it's
has
fine.
a he has a frat brother who worked at a different enterprise, like in a close by city. They got us the van, and he actually called the other enterprise. The man called me sassy. What the fuck you call me sassy? I was not sassy. Well, I probably was, but that ain't the point. And so I feel like a sassy heroine. I probably resonate with her.
Yeah. You know what? You are like the fifth or sixth author that I have interviewed, and they'd be like, "My husband an alpha," and I'm like, "Is my husband calling his network or something?" Like,
Maybe so.
but all right. So what must a male lead bring to earn a seat in a CCJ universe?
He has to be all about the heroine. Like, he has to be all about the heroine. Like, I feel like there have been in the past, maybe heroes that were not necessarily that kind of took some time. And you know what? I can't even say that, because the person that I was thinking of, Carter from Didn't Mean to Love You, is a Friends to Lovers book. And they have very clearly fallen in love, and he is very clearly in love with this girl, and she is trying to like get him to say that, and she makes this statement of, I gave you my heart. And he says, I didn't ask for your heart. We're still recovering from that, and that was like 10 years ago. Jesus. He redeemed himself. He did redeem himself, but even he was pushing her away. He was absolutely all about her. Even still, even with that, whatever, he was emo. He was emo. And don't get me wrong, I love a sad boy. I love a sad boy hero. I love him bad. But he was absolutely that. But again, he was all about her. And I love to write a hero who is just not necessarily obsessed. Sometimes they are. Sometimes they do have a little healthy level of obsession, but they are not nonchalant, about the heroine. And that, as long as you got that, I can work with whatever else you bring, but you cannot be nonchalant about my heroine.
I can understand that. Okay. You've been an indie author for some years now. And what has the publishing industry taught you not to do?
Taught me not to do? Do not try to follow a trend. Do not try to follow a trend, because by the time you saw, I'll just use myself just to, for fun. By the time you saw everybody loved that CCJ wrote a billionaire romance, by the time you write yours, they will have moved on to, I saw her name earlier. So Alex House wrote a monster romance. I'm right now. Everybody is loving on monster romance. You're trying to promote your billionaire romance, but everybody's on to monster romance, and so write what is resonating with you. Write what is feeling good to you. Write what the characters that came to you that are, beating on, your mental door for your attention. Stick with that, and the audience will find you. Now, there are authors who can effectively do that. There are authors who, are fast and, they're able to, they can pivot, et cetera, et cetera. But that it's like you're keeping yourself, you're constantly on the ropes. You're constantly having to pivot instead of, kind of creating your own motion where it's everybody is on, everybody's on Motorcycle Club right now, but I'm not really feeling Motorcycle Club right now. I want to write a vampire. So write your vampire and make it look good. Make it sexy. Make the people want to come to, make the people want to read your vampires, even though they're on Motorcycle Club right now. They just they were on something else before that. So don't, don't try to don't try to follow behind, what everybody else is doing, because you will burn yourself out trying to keep up with that.
Facts. What's your goal as a writer today? Has that goal shifted over the years?
Yes. That is a very, has it shifted over the years is a very easy question to answer. What my goals are, or what my goal is a lot more complicated. I think on a high level, the goal is for people to know my name. And it's not even really about them knowing my name. It's about knowing my work. As many Black women want to read romance, if there is a Black woman somewhere who wants to read romance, I want to be an option to her. I don't have to be the only option. I don't have to be it doesn't have to only be me, but I want her to wonder, I wonder if CCJ put something out, or I wonder, I wonder what CCJ has put out. Like I want to be on people's minds. Like when they think about Black romance, I want to be one of those people. Like I want my name to be one of those names.
Yeah.
Now I say that with full understanding that there's a lot that comes with that I don't know that I want. I was talking to someone this morning who, has had a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful career, author I greatly, greatly admire. And they were talking about like the exhaustion that they feel, and it's like, yes, that's one of the prices that you pay for, being able to do these amazing things. But something I think about a lot, especially, with my kids, my son is very, very young. I don't want to miss anything. My daughters are teenagers. I don't want to miss anything. And so it's like trying to make sure that I'm balancing things well, and make sure that I'm not, make sure that I'm not dropping the ball as a wife and mother, but also making sure that I'm not dropping the ball as Christina either. Because this is something that I want. Like this career is a thing that I want. This career is something that, on an emotional and mental level, like this builds me and this sustains me. And I should give attention to that. I should give, like there's room for me to want that and pursue that. And it's just as important as, making sure that I'm, being a good wife and being a good mom and being a good daughter and being a good sister and being a good friend and all of these other things, like making sure that I'm honoring that as well. And so I think balance is the goal ultimately, like figuring out the balance and reaching it somehow. Now, if I do that, I'll be the first.
When you do, let me know.
I'll be the first.
Let me know.
Right.
Because I say this all the time, being a woman and being a Black woman is hard as fuck, and not many people can carry it.
Yeah.
Hard as hell. So let me ask you, what do you wish we saw more of in Black literature and indie publishing?
I wish that we saw more of, I'm trying to figure out how to articulate it. So we hinted on it like a little bit earlier, just talking about how, like, for Black authors, it's like trying to get the acceptance of kind of being able to do different things and being able to like try new things. It's like, I feel like it's only been fairly recently that I've seen more Black authors talk about, writing dark romance. It's not a ton of us, I don't feel like, who will write like paranormal, like kind of those subgenres of romance that the white girls, they doing it, and hey, they doing it. But I feel like because it took time for us to, and we're honestly, we're still trying to get that be legitimized as straight up contemporary. We're still working on legitimizing that without, being miscategorized or judged or, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so it makes it difficult, like it's easy for me, 12 years in, if I want to write a paranormal book, I'll write a paranormal book, and I can be pretty confident that it's gonna do okay. It's not gonna break any of my personal records or anything like that, because it's a niche, and so like that's to be expected. But I'm not going to I'm not going to feel like my time was wasted. Like I'm
Yeah.
still going to get sales. I'm still going to get reviews. I'm still going
Mhm.
to, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But someone who doesn't have, the audience that I have, who doesn't have, the level of readership that I have, they might not feel as comfortable taking that chance, putting that time into that, putting
Mhm.
those months of attention and, energy and all of that into a book, because who knows if people are going to read it or not. And so I really want to see more. I want to see more, and I don't even know that it's necessarily. Here I go, trying to be careful with my words because I feel like what I'm saying could come across as me saying, well, readers need to do this, and it's not that. Like, it's like that's not what I'm actually saying. I think that, well, no, I do think that readers need to do something. If you love those genres and you have a platform, continue to be as loud about it as you
Mhm.
can, so that those authors see that, and they
Mhm.
see that, hey, actually, there are people that read this, and there are people that enjoy this, and there are people that, I know that if I publish this, there are going to be people in my corner.
Yeah.
Like, we know that you're there. Like, I know that you're there because y'all read it when I do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So I know that you're there, but just making sure that, like, offering space to that,
Mhm.
and using your platform in that way. And
Mhm.
authors, to talk to us too, like, y'all, stop being scared, just write the shit. Like, that's what I do. that's that's how I got, where I am, like, and, have the reputation of, kind of, you never know, what you're gonna get. I don't even be knowing when I'm gonna get when I sit down. Sometimes, just write what feels good to you. Like, you have to find the, I guess, fortitude to
Mhm.
just write what comes to you, and not necessarily be so concerned
Mhm.
with, not necessarily concerned with how the audience is going to respond. Just focus on writing the best book that you can
Yeah.
within whatever, whatever genre, whatever tropes, etc. Focus on writing the best book that you can, and then everything else is kind of after that.
But I also want to say this to my fellow readers and for my fellow people who also do book events like I do with Shannon. I want y'all to start and take the idea. I don't even give a fuck. Just start having book events in the bookstores for when a book drop. Because what happened with Oathborn, what is it? Oathborn Bound,
The Nia Davenport book.
what happened with that should not have happened. That should not have happened. Even though it's traditional, fuck them. No offense to y'all that's traditional. Fuck them. We as readers have enough power to push an event. And the reason why I say that, as someone who lives in Chicago and has the joint here, who is an all black bookstore ran by a mother and daughter, they had a midnight release party and only 5 people bought tickets for that, but was loud and proud. Oh, Chicago gonna have this, and never bought tickets to the event to get the books. You see what I'm saying? If we're gonna sit here and be about it for real. We could talk
Yeah.
all day online about how we support indie authors. We can talk all because it's enough stupid motherfuckers trying to say y'all really don't support us. We have enough of those. Show up and show out. We have a lot of influencers who do it, but there is a lot more, and it's crazy. It's crazy because yeah, Atlanta sold out, but Chicago only had 5. And you know what did sell out though? The white bookstore. The white bookstore sold out, but the black bookstore could not sell out. How is that even possible? How is
I
that
think a lot
possible?
of it often is visibility as well. Like visibility plays a huge part with people kind of knowing about like about this stuff. I know Jaleesa has booked me there where she kind of tracks like the events and stuff,
Mhm.
like the larger bookish events. It would be cool to have or and she might honestly already
Yeah, I think
do
she does
this,
do
but I'm
that.
I'm thinking like the bookstore events, like the signings and stuff
Yeah.
like that. It would be cool to have, to have stuff like that, like brought in, as well, so that people know about the stuff because
Yeah.
I see stuff all the time that I wouldn't have been able to go because I don't live there
Yeah. Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
But it's like I see afterwards, you know, like the event that you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's like we hear about it afterwards, but we didn't
Mhm.
necessarily know beforehand. And
Yeah.
a lot of people like you do gotta get up and go outside.
You
And
do.
I've had to tell myself that
You
too.
do. Because I honestly wholeheartedly I love what Jaleesa does with Book Me There. And there are so many events because you see so many people be like after the fact of event, like let's take my event, me and Shannon's event, Boozy Book Tour. They'll say, you came to my city and I didn't even know.
Yeah.
And we promote it, and sometimes on social media it don't get to the people that it needs to get to.
Yep.
You know what I'm
Yep.
saying?
These
Even with
algorithms and yeah.
Jaleesa is constantly promoting Book Me There, but you still have a plethora of readers that'll say, I don't know about it, or y'all, please, woo woo woo. When I say this, be easy. A lot of the book groups pick and choose, like some click ass shit, of what events they put in their groups, and that is their choice because that is their group. But a lot of times there is a lot of click behavior for certain book events, certain book signings, and not all, because
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day people are going to come and go to whatever they choose to go to. Just because that is something you want to do, let your readers decide. Let them know what the hell going on. You know what I'm saying? Because people are not in those direct areas. Not everybody is in
Yeah.
LA. Not everybody is in Atlanta. Not everybody is in New York. Not everybody is in Chicago. There's cities in between, and there's book events. There's book signings, and nobody knows about them. But
Yeah.
then on the flip side, woo woo woo, y'all that put on book events, including myself, and book signings, y'all don't even reach out to Jaleesa. Y'all see her online and y'all interact with her content and see that she's promoting this, and y'all never say shit. How the fuck we supposed to know? So I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
So I think the lesson is everybody, you gotta talk about your shit, like you do. And that goes for authors too, because I feel like a lot of times, we it's like we get so lost in the weeds. And I know for me, like I used to be where I'd be scared to, talk about my book because, well, somebody, what if somebody come along my post and say this, and what if somebody come along the post and say that,
Mm.
and you know what I mean? But it's like you cannot be scared to talk about it. You cannot be scared to promote it. Sometimes you might have to put a little money behind it. You might have to pay Facebook their little $5 for the ad, or so that it gets that visibility, so that people see it. And $5 is not enough. It needs to be more than $5.
Like
But
100.
yeah, but it's like sometimes you do have to put, you have to put a little bit behind it. But I think that visibility is a huge thing. Like that's a huge thing, and I think that showing up for yourself, talking about it, every day. Like I know, again, we've hosted events. We did Girl
Yeah.
Have You Met, and we
When are
would
you doing it again?
and Girl Have You Met was a smaller event, and so
When are
we
you doing
would.
it again? And how do I get an invite?
I don't know. We the last year we were supposed to do it was the year that COVID hit.
Mm.
And then we just have not been able to like just get the timing. Well, you know what? we were planning to do Girl Have You Met in 2022, and I had paid the deposit for the space. We were gonna do it. We were gonna do it in Houston again, and then I threw up. And I told my husband, I was like, I think I got a bug. And he was like, I think you got my son. And he was right. He was right. But we just haven't since then. But it is something that, that we've kind of tossed around a little bit, here and there. And so I don't think it's over. I absolutely do not think it's over. We just have not been able to get the timing right.
Because, like, okay, even though I have this podcast, every time I talk to one of you authors and I'm hearing all the stuff y'all done did, I'm like, where the fuck was I? And when are you doing it again? I feel real salty because everybody else was outside and they got to see it and I didn't. So I'm a hating ass bitch. I want to be a part of. I went too.
Yeah, no, we had we always had a really, really good time. And I really hope that I really, really hope that we're able to do it again. But events in general are always a good time. Like getting to be in the space with Black women who not just Black women, like a bunch of Black readers, like there is an energy that is just
nothing
unmatched. Yeah, like that, and it consistently puts like a battery in my back. Like the last event I was at, or the last signing I was at, Kennedy Ryan, when she did Before I Let Go, she had me as her special guest in Raleigh, and I was pregnant. I was pregnant. And I had just stopped like being sick. Like I had just got over that. And that's the last thing I did. And that was in 2022. And so I am like over the moon excited to be outside this summer. Now, you might see me somewhere crying because I miss my baby, but
I just want you to know I'm gonna put Boozy Book Tour's hat in the ring because we would love you for the melanin ball that is all black, all black, and it's a house party theme this time, pajama jam all weekend, 3 days in Las Vegas.
When are you, now I can't pick up anything else this year.
No,
like
it's February 27th to March 1st. It's going to be over.
So you're talking about for 2026. I might have to see what I can do. We might have to talk about it.
We are also looking for more highlighted authors.
Okay.
So I'm gonna put that. It's a 3-day event of fun, drinks, wildness, book signing, indie literary awards, a melanin ball where we're gonna dance to 90s hip hop and R&B. You know what I'm saying?
It sounds like a time.
This year we had it in
and
Tulsa.
I do like the time.
We had it in Tulsa this year.
Okay.
And we had it on Black Wall Street type deal. It was ass everywhere in flapper dresses. It was Harlem Nights. It was Harlem Nights this year. The award show was nice. Ass once again was everywhere.
I think my friend Layla Hart, she was at.
Yeah.
Well, that's her pen name. I know.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I had to stop myself and use her pen name. Yeah. But that's my heart. That's my girl. But when she said about the flapper dresses and stuff, like I was like, yeah, okay, I remember her pictures and stuff from that. Yeah. But yeah, it sounds like a good time.
It's gonna be bigger this year. Bigger next year than it was last year. But yeah, it's gonna be in Vegas, and what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. I ain't got no skin in the game on that one. But okay, next question. Your WAG Studio series.
Yes.
Showcases love that's not always smooth. There's breakups, enemies that aren't really enemies, second chances. How do you keep those stories relevant, fresh, and rooted in emotional truth while still keeping that element of fiction?
So what's funny is I wrote that while I was literally sick as a dog, pregnant. So much happened in 2022. The novellas, not behind the scenes. Behind the scenes was a little before that, but the novellas, I signed a contract for those and then got sick and really wished I hadn't signed that contract. But hey, it worked out. But it's tough. It's tough, especially dealing with, all those different characterizations, all those different dynamics. And then with that series in particular, you have this underlying the TV show that's happening. So it's like you have a fiction within a fiction that you're trying to balance as well, and a whole other set of characters that are happening as well. And so it's tough. But I think that because in my head, they're people. Like, yes, they're characters, of course, but they're also like just people. And so, well, hello.
Oh, the babies.
Come here. Yeah, come here. Izzy and Zoe, you're supposed to be watching the baby. And why he's down here with a belt? Just close the door. I got him. I got my own baby.
My bad.
But why do you have a belt? But yeah, because they are. Okay, you're gonna have to go if you're gonna talk over me. Because they are like their own character. Okay, yeah. Go to your sisters. Here. I'm so sorry.
You are fine. Life be life.
Yes.
My podcast is like real as it get. I don't filter nothing. Y'all are parents.
Yeah, he is demanding my Stanley. Did you hear him drink? Okay. Okay, and after this, you go see Izzy Zoe, okay? Go see Izzy and Zoe.
Yeah.
Okay, you can take this with you. Here, just take it. Just take it. Okay, he refuses. Anyway, because they're real people, and at least in my head, it helps me to. I'm just recording, I'm not necessarily. It's like, of course, I'm making it up, but it's like, to me, I'm not really making it up. I'm just recording what happened. I'm recording what they did, which actually, kind of partially adds some difficulty to it, because it's like when they want to go left and I would prefer that they went right. It's like it makes it it adds another layer of difficulty to it, but it also helps keep that realism, keeps their characterization, because they won't let me, they're not as flexible as I would like them to be.
So I hope you know.
Where is he?
No.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
No, he said no.
I just want you to know, I was gonna double back on the paranormal. I was gonna spin the block on that, because that's like my favorite genre of yours. I know the girlies like contemporary and all that, but like from Paris to River. Which, by the way, Paris and River are hilarious.
They are. I love them.
From Ambrosia to Cassius to Elliot, is it Elias, and Celeste. Which Elias was a handful. Celeste,
very much so.
We see connections back to Hostile Takeover.
Yes.
The Black family. So if y'all haven't read it, I just gave you a little tidbit. Will we be getting more from the Blackwood After Dark series?
So yes and no. I would not revisit those same characters as like main characters, but when I do lock in, like for real lock in to write like my full length paranormal, we'll definitely see them. We'll see the characters from Eternally Tethered, so from Haunted, Coveted, like Arum and Kalita and all of them. Like we'll probably see everybody. And really, you just make a noise just to be making noise. Yeah. But that is why with Friction, like I very specifically did not include any of. Stop. You're done. Yeah, I'm sorry. Like I very specifically did not include them because I wanted the Friction lore or the Reverie series lore to be able to kind of be its own thing without me having to make sure that I matched the stuff that I had set up for, like in Blackwood After Dark or in Eternally Tethered. Now, what I did end up doing with Friction, I did end up bringing in the other Vegas characters, and so there's a tie-in there. There's a heavy tie-in with the Predators, and then like with the High Stakes series and all Predators. Of that, and that will continue. But you think you're funny, don't you? Yeah. 2-year-olds are very funny.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, laughs. But I'm sorry, I completely lost my train of thought.
You're fine.
What was I talking about?
Did
I answer your question?
You did. So let me ask you this: will there be a deeper world building or crossover stories in that universe outside? Because I know you said you're not going to bring in the Blackwoods again, but can you just name all of the stories that you might incorporate into that universe?
Anything that's set in Vegas, like anything that's set in Vegas is up for grabs within the Reverie series.
For real?
Yeah, that's where I am with that. And I'm honestly not sure that we will not completely hear from the Blacks or Arm and Kalita. Like, I'm not sure. I just, starting it, I wanted to like kind of keep it siloed. But yeah, anybody over there is up for grabs.
What? Okay.
But they won't necessarily so in my mind, like, Kingston Whitfield doesn't know anything about, vampires. That is not on his radar. But the characters might still be, brought in.
Okay. So
it's not for you.
For someone about to jump into the literary waters, especially anyone that's Black, with a story to tell, what advice would you give them about surviving and thriving in this space?
Never be so certain of your craft that you feel like you know it all. Because I feel like I've seen authors, I've seen people come on and give like a negative review and, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it can be a very benign, but negative review. Not nasty, not just critical. And people kind of jump to the author's defense because, they want to be supportive. And, I also think there's not necessarily anything wrong with that. But when I see it, I'm always concerned when it's like a newer author, because I don't want that author to take the well-placed support and feel like, well, I don't need to change anything. Like, I'm good right here. Everybody has everybody has, something that they can improve on their art. Everybody has ways that their craft, should be growing. Everybody. And I think it's important to be aware of where you need to work on your art, whether that's, you need stronger dialogue, you need stronger character development, you need stronger world building, you need stronger, setting. I'm not great with setting, and so it's something that I very specifically pay attention to. And when I say setting, I'm talking about literally the room that someone is in. And I don't feel a need to like just go on and on for a paragraph, but like something that I've noticed I'll do is I'll literally just start writing, and it's like, okay, well, where's she at? Like she doing all of this stuff, but like, is she sitting in her room? Is she at the kitchen table? Like,
Right.
and so it's something that I've like consciously tried to work on, even 12, 13 years in. And I think that having a curiosity and drive for improving your craft is one of the best, like that's one of the best things that an author can do for their career, because no matter what, like, it is going to be the words, the craft, like that is what is going to bring readers into your fold. Like, the book can go viral on TikTok. Somebody, the right person talks about it, it goes viral on TikTok. Everybody reads it. You know, and then, or maybe not. Maybe they love that one, but then they go to the next one, and it's like, this one doesn't quite have the same magic. And it's like, you're trying to figure out why. Like, you're trying to figure out why you had this, you know, this steep, you know, this sharp jump, and then you had a steep drop off. And it's because you weren't able to pull people into your universe or your multiverse or whatever, you know, whatever, however you want to refer to your catalog. You were not able to pull them in because the craft isn't there. It's like, you had that, you know, you had that viral success, and you got their attention, but you couldn't keep their attention. And the reason you couldn't keep the attention is because the craft was not there. And it's like, I think it's amazing when readers want to pour positivity and support into someone, and don't stop. Like, don't stop. I'm saying to the author, hear it, receive it, use it, bolster it, or use that to bolster you. Use that to, you know, take that to your computer with you. But when you take it and feel like, okay, they love that one, I have a responsibility now to do even better. But there's a fine line with that, because what happens, or what can happen, is, you know, you have trouble, or you get wrapped up in your head because you don't feel like you can top, you know, you don't feel like you can top yourself. But it's not necessarily about, topping yourself in a way of, you know, beating yourself. It's topping yourself in a way of improving yourself. It's like, oh, you think you like that? Wait till you see what I hit you with next. Because I saw people saying, you know, oh, the editing wasn't, you know, like, oh, it was a really good book, but the editing wasn't that good. Oh, it's a really good book, but, you know, the way that the chapters ended, you know, felt like it was like I was kind of going off a cliff. Like, it was a little choppy, it was a little blocky. So, okay, this time I'm going to ask for one more editing pass, or I'm going to have an additional person read through it for me. I'm going to, you know, I'm going to take a couple days away from my document, and I'm going to, you know, I'm going to look at the way that I close chapters. I'm going to read other books that I feel like do these things really, really well. And I'm going to pay attention to the craft. Like, I'm not just the characters, not just the plot, but the actual craft. What are the literary devices? How is this author using language? Like, the nitty gritty of it, so that I can understand, like, okay, you know, this author is making sure that at the end of the chapter, you know, we're not leaving the chapter in the middle of a conversation. We're not leaving the chapter, you know, on an unfinished or an or an incomplete thought. I'm going to make sure that I'm, that I'm coming through and that I'm closing things down. And then when it's time for me to open the next chapter, I'm either picking up here, or I'm picking up with a new thought. But whatever I'm doing, I'm driving things. I'm driving my story forward. There are no scenes that are just there just because, I just had to get this joke in. I know some of my best jokes had to go because the scene was pointless. And I know it hurts, but drop it, get rid of it, but don't put it like in a doc or something. You might be able to, use it somewhere else, like don't just delete it. But things like that, like those are the type of things that improve your craft. Like when I look back at stuff that I wrote, like year 1, year 2, I cringe when I read my writing, because now I see better ways that I could have, accomplished a certain character reveal, or I see like, and I feel like you should be able to do that. Now, if you've only been writing a couple of years, like that probably won't resonate with you, because it's not going to be huge incremental. For most people, it's not going to be like huge incremental differences in a short period of time. But I've been writing for more than a decade, and so for me, like, I'm definitely like, there's definitely stuff that was like, Christina, you got real lucky that they liked you, or they thought you was cute, or whatever, because baby, this is rough. Some of this stuff is rough. But what? Why are you in that closet? Blue, there's nothing bluey. Oh, you know what? There is some bluey in there. There's some bluey wrapping paper in that closet.
Lord Jesus. So let me ask you, will there, I don't know for everybody else, but will there be book boxes, especially for your paranormal and MC club?
I am not necessarily planning on it, but that does not mean no.
Okay.
I will say that for the there is a rainbow right there. For the Reverie series, I do potentially have something in mind for that. That might be like a box. I do have this is top secret information. I showed these on a live with my Patreon. But I am gonna show just this one. This is a special edition that is similar to what I had for the Heights, the books that were in when I did the Heights boxes. This is similar. This is Ante-Up, King of Hearts, Deuces Wild, and High Stakes Holiday. I have these, and it's got the sprayed or painted edges, hardcover, silver foil. My plan is to do this for my entire catalog. Hey, no, that's Daddy's. Here you go.
What?
And it'll be like in different, different color palettes, different colors on the foil. Hey, you gonna get me in trouble. But yeah, and I have the other ones, but I'm not. I have the whole Vegas collection already.
How can we order this?
Well, Patreon gets first access to them, but probably I can't spin this right now. Table. You spin it on the table. Are you happy with yourself?
Spin.
Yeah, he wants me to spin it. I'm so sorry.
You are fun. Cute.
I will have a very, very few on my table at Indie Love. But beyond that, you gotta go back with your sisters. You're doing too much. Here, you want to play with these? Look at that. Can you put those back in that cup for me, please? Yeah, thank you. So Patreon is gonna get first access to them. I will have some on my table at Indie Love, like a very select few, and then after that, probably sometime later this summer, I'll probably do like a pre-order round for them, like
Okay.
for specifically for them, and then for the Heights ones as well. Like right now, the Heights ones you can get them. You'll be able to get those at Indie Love. Like they're available on my Indie Love pre-order, but nowhere else right now. But I'll probably order some extras when I place my order for Indie Love. I'll have some extras, and so if I have any, talk to me after Indie Love, basically, because after Indie Love. Or after book events, I always kind of sell whatever I bring back home with me. I always, sell that stuff off. I don't anticipate bringing any of those back home, but I will probably still have some at my house that I did not take with me. I would love to get to a place. My husband he actually sent me a picture. He is building our cabinetry for this house that we have been building for 4 years. And when I say building, like he literally built all the cabinets, like with his hands, like we for real building this house. But I'll have like a little bookstore, like in my a bookstore, so that I'm able to accommodate, constant sales, like for people who want signed copies and stuff like that. Yeah. So yeah.
So will you be you said Indie Love, but will you be attending any other book signings or events this year where fans can meet you?
Yes. One I cannot talk about quite yet. But I will be at Indie Love for sure, and I'll be at House Party for sure. House Party is in either North Carolina or South Carolina. It's in one of the Carolinas. I always get them mixed up. Is it North?
I think. Jaleesa, is it North? Yeah, North Carolina. Charlotte.
North Carolina. Okay. I always get it mixed up. But I will definitely be at those. Next year I will be at I'll probably be at Indie. If she does Indie Love again, I'll probably be at Indie Love. And I'll be at I told you we're gonna talk about it. But I'm already committed to Black Romance Book Fest for next year. I won't be at this one, but I will be at next year.
Okay. So how can readers best support you beyond just buying the books?
I think, and this is gonna sound so corny, and I'm sorry, but I'm gonna say it anyway. When y'all just doing what you're doing now, and it's not even like supporting me directly, but when y'all like show up to midnight release parties, for the authors, when you host podcasts and host book events, when y'all, build your platforms and, you're posting reviews and you're reading people's books and you're retweeting. Why do I keep saying it's not a retweet anymore? And I'm not even over there anymore, but y'all know what I'm saying. Like when you're reposting, people's stuff and sharing everybody's stuff, like not just even me, but when you're pouring into the community, like what's the saying about the boats? It's like about how the tide raises all the boats. Something like that. I can't remember what the full saying is, but the sentiment I feel is very true. I have loved to see the way that the book community has developed and grown over the years. The way that indies are supported now, especially Black indies, like and black, not just Black indies, but Black authors in general. Even though I do remember, I'm not even gonna say that. Let me not.
Author Renee Wolf said it: "A rising tide raises all boats."
Yes. That's it. Thank you. Thank you so much. And I really, really believe that. And that it was really something that I subscribe to, that seeing like the care and the support and if we just being honest, the money that people pour into the community, it matters. It makes a difference. Like I know plenty of women who make a living from being able to write their art and sharing their art, and art about Black people, like unapologetically Black people. And that's not, and I don't mean that like in a monolithic way. I mean that in whatever way your Blackness shows up. I feel like we're in a place now where we're like, that support is there, or not support isn't the word, the representation is there, and I just, it's really, really good to see. Like, even though like, yeah, there's like the dramas and the infighting, and I think that is going to exist. I think that's always going to exist. I think that exists in everybody's community, in everybody's subsection, and so I think that I think that that's why I think that it feels so like, damn, really, y'all? Because it's not necessarily the standard, and because it's not the norm. It's like, man, what is this and that? Like, it's an outlier. And so I think it's important to, for us to remember that, like, yeah, while that exists, people are gonna be mean, people are gonna be, whatever. For the most part, like, this community is definitely like the love is there, the support is there, the energy is there. And so I think that as long as we kind of keep the focus there, I think we'll continue to grow.
Yeah. So what platforms can everybody subscribe, be a part of, that you have, that we need to immediately go over to?
Well, I'm here on TikTok. I don't post as much as I would like to. I keep trying to get better. If you like a bit longer form content, I do have my YouTube channel, and also if you're an author, I have a lot of like author resource type videos, whether that's like informational or encouragement. I have a lot of that over on my YouTube channel. I think my link tree is in my bio over here. Oh, also on my link tree over here, if you are interested in paranormal, there is a paranormal page for my website. Actually, I might not have put it in my link tree. I'm gonna put it in my link tree in a second. But I have like where you can find all of my different paranormal stuff, and I only have a few things available like for you to purchase directly from me. But if you use code STORM on the CJ Romance store, you will get 25% off anything in the paranormal category. What? And I also have like a little PDF, like a little infographic that's called the In Between, where it's like a little explainer for all of my paranormal titles, and it's just like talks about like the little connections, and it's got links to everything and all of that. But I don't think I put it in my link tree. I'm about to go put it in my link tree right now.
Okay.
Or actually, I may have. Did I?
I like that.
I'm going to go see
that. I like that. Yep.
It is not in my link tree, so I'm about to go. I'm about to put that in my link tree right now. I got my computer over here, so let me add that to my.
And is your Patreon in your link tree as well?
Yes, it is. It is.
Okay.
And we have a good time over there. I actually am supposed to be I've been putting it off all day because I'm scared, but I have something new that's supposed to be going up in Patreon today, like a little sneak peek of something that is supposed to be going on today. So okay, I've got that added, and again, that's anything that is on my site. So really, what I've got is I've got the Eternally Tethered series in audio, and then I've got Until the Sun Comes Up, which is like a little, like the first time I wrote vampires. So this was before I wrote the Blacks, but it's like a little novella, and so you get 25% off of any of that, and then all the other stuff is linked. Yes, use Storm, all caps.
So I just want to say this conversation, if y'all are in here, even if you just came in here just listening to Miss CCJ speak, if that didn't stir your spirit or check or just made you feel something, I'm gonna need y'all to check your Wi-Fi and your souls, okay? That's what I'm gonna need y'all to do. I want to give a big thank you for reminding us that Black love in all the softness and chaos and fire deserves to be centered, protected, and celebrated. If anything, I hope today's episode hit home for a lot of y'all to make sure to subscribe to her YouTube channel, her Patreon, leave a review under her books. Share with somebody who knows somebody that knows somebody who wants a good story. When you hear me, audiobook and physical book, because audiobooks are still reading, y'all.
Absolutely.
But you can follow me on YouTube, Black Girl Tired Book Talk, and tap in with me and for more episodes to amplify back Black voices in indie lit, spill the tea on publishing politics, because we need to know. We need to know how we can better help our authors. So we need to know the politics behind it and center the creators who do it for the culture, because there are a lot of bookish creatives on here. Whether they have a small following or a big following, they are doing it for the culture, and you need to support them. You can also just support all Black indie authors. You can read diverse, but you Black first. So until next time, stay loud, stay loved, and stay Black on purpose.
Hey, I love that.
Stay Black on purpose. Now,